Good morning. Hello, everyone. Let me just make sure that everything is doing what I'm expecting it to do, as ever. How are we all today? Am I live? Am I? Yes, I am. Hurrah and la la. Let's turn the volume down on that. Last thing I want is to be. Hello, Renee. Gosh, you're prompt. Let me turn on comments, she says, hopefully. I'm hoping they'll come up in a minute. So, here we are again. It's Tuesday. Who would think it? Claire's with us. Morning, Claire. Ah, the comments are coming in. So I can see them on my phone. I can now see them on my laptop as well. Of course, I can't see them because I've got glasses on. But morning, Wendy D. I'm going to call you Wendy D, and I'm going to call other Wendy, Wendy M. Hobart in Tasmania. Good morning, Sue. Morning, Candy. So, what's Wendy? Hope you're well. Yes, I am, thank you. You nearly missed me. Ooh. Well, I've only just started, so that's fine. So, Lorna's joined. Good, everyone is jumping on board. I started almost exactly on time today. I have my bottle of water. I'm going to try and project my voice because I have had a second comment about people saying they can't hear terribly well. If you've got problems with the volume, you may want to adjust yours first just to make sure you're on full blast. Morning, Jan, because I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the people that have commented, and I have to say it's generally on the YouTube, I'm not convinced they've turned their volume up. And I don't know about anybody else, but I find that depending on what we're watching on our TV, depends on what the volume is that we have to use. We don't actually have a TV as such. We have a PC which works as a TV as well, which is kind of weird. But it means that if we're playing something that we have that we've got, I don't know, that we're streaming from Amazon Prime or something like that, the volume is different from if we're watching something that we've recorded separately. So we have to tweak the volume all the time. And there's one program in particular that we watch where we keep forgetting that we've got to turn the volume down to almost nothing. And every time we get it started, we nearly get blown across the sitting room. So it's much better. I'm hoping, Wendy D, that you mean the volume is much better today. Morning, Jeanette from Devon. Cloudy this morning. We've actually got quite a nice day. It's a little cloudy, but not cloudy. Yesterday was awesome. It got up to kind of mid to high 20s with us. So I blitzed the garden and got it, a lot of it, not all of it, got a lot of it ready for the autumn. So my sunflowers have gone. Morning, Wendy Port, and that means we're going to have three Wendy's. Morning, Margaret. Dull with you this morning. Oh dear. It's it's a good evening in Brisbane. Good. Yes, volume. Thank you, Wendy. That's super. Obviously, I don't. I get all of the comments are out of context, particularly as they're delayed. Morning, Audrey. It's Drich, is it? Ooh, not nice. Sorry. Anyway, so yes, so my sunflowers have gone. I mean, they were pretty much dead anywhere. I've cut the last few that were in flower, and they're in a vase in the kitchen. But the sunflowers have gone. The garden's been cut back. My zinnias have now gone. So I'm slowly tidying things up, ready for the autumn. So yeah, I'm going to do my housekeeping before I forget. So for those of you who are watching not on Tuesday the 15th of September. This is a Facebook Live that I'm recording from the 15th of September. If you are watching it and this is where I have to get this right, there is a little red live button in the top right hand corner, then you are watching live. If you are, and that's on Facebook, if you're on Facebook and there is no little red blob in the top right hand corner saying live, you're watching a replay. And if you're on YouTube, it's not live, it's a replay because this is a Facebook Live. So that's that housekeeping. Do remember that if you share the video either live or repeat on either Facebook or YouTube, you get put into a draw for a little something from me. If you're in the UK, it will be product. If you are outside the UK, it will be a choice of the digital items that I have available, other than the mega bundles, but any of the digital items. Your heathers in the garden are looking lovely. I bet. Yes, definitely a sign of autumn. Anyway, I'm trying not to worry about that. So yes, if you share, and you need to type the word shared with a D, just as Elizabeth Knox has shown you. Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Perfect timing. Then you get put into the draw, which I have already done, and that will go live at 12 o'clock. I need a drink. I'm trying to keep hydrated. For those of you who watch my news feed, either on my news feed or on my business news feed, a lovely day in Cheshire. Excellent. So yes, if you watch me on my news feeds, you will possibly know that I'm doing the couch to 5k. I've got my last run to do. I have to say I'm not doing 5k. I am doing 30 minutes, but I'm not doing 5k yet. I'm doing about 3.5. Thank you, Claire. So I need to up the speed at some point, and the distance. But yes, so I'm hoping to either do it today or tomorrow. Today would be the earliest I can do it. I need another drink. Because you're supposed to leave at least a day between runs. And I ran on, where are we, Sunday. So I can either do it this afternoon or I can do it tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow. Hello from Iowa. Thank you, Deb. So yes, I think it may be a bit warm today for running, because the time I normally run, which is about 5 o'clock, it's still due to be about 25 degrees. So I may wait until tomorrow. Thank you, Wendy D, for sharing. And I have my team meeting this evening at 6. So that's something that I need to work around as well. Right, now, what else can I tell you? I will remind you of this, hopefully, if my brain works. I'm going to start doing if you place an order, obviously if you're in the UK, if you place an order by close of business on Friday, and it's at least £25, and you use the host code, or it's over £150, I will, in addition to the normal product gift that I give to my customers who use the host code, you will get a free packet of, and I'm using them today, and I can't now find them, there they are, the adhesive back snowflakes. So this will be in addition to the other product that I share. And if you place an order that's over £150, where you don't normally get the product share, you will still get this. But that has to be done by the end of Friday. So just so you know, and I know a lot of you are not in the UK, so that's irrelevant. But so just to pick up, so we got Sandra from Perth, Western Australia. I have relatives who live in Perth. I spent a very nice couple of weeks down there in February, about 30 years ago. In fact, it was more than 30 years ago. And it was lovely because it was horrible here in the UK. I left the UK in snow and ended up getting sunburnt in Perth, sitting under a tree with factor 50 on. But it was lovely. So Margaret Green from New South Wales. Nora is with us from Ireland. Thank you, Lorna, for letting me know you can hear. Thank you, Renee, for sharing. So yes, so that's Snowflake. If you place an order before midnight on Friday, use the host code. The order has to be over £25. Use the host code. Or if your order is over £150 and you get your own host rewards, you will still get the snowflakes. So that's that. I've also got something else that is quite exciting to talk to you about, which I will show you in a moment as well. Sorry, I'm rustling of tissue paper. So I've got my next class in a box ready to be ordered. I need to put the stuff on my website and put it in a newsletter, but I've done all the maths and all that good stuff. It's going to be using the Playing with Patterns suite, which may seem an odd choice, but this is specifically excellent, Claire. Well, the trimmer I think is £23, so just add something extra and then you'll get your 25 and you'll get the snowflakes and the other stuff, so that's good. Thank you, Lorna, for sharing. So this kit in a box is specifically for World Card Making Day. So the 3rd of October is World Card Making Day, and so I am gearing my kit around that, so it will be with you in time for World Card Making Day. And then the following week is World Card Sending Week. So the idea is you make cards and send them. And because the idea is that you send them out in October, I've got fluff. Sorry. Probably a cat hair. Thank you, Candy. So I'm not doing Christmas is bottom line. So I'm using Playing with Patterns. And I love this pattern paper. So it will be half a pack of that, so 2 sheets of each of the designs. There's 12 designs double-sided. Thank you, Nora. You will also get some resin, some of the matching resin dots. You will get and that's a quarter of a pack. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 of each of the 3 colours, so 30. You will also get a quarter of a roll of the Playing with Patterns ribbon. You will get 10 note cards and envelopes. You will get 6 envelopes. You haven't seen the Playing with Patterns? Ooh, it's lovely. It's in the annual catalogue. So yes, 6 ordinary envelopes, 10 note cards and envelopes. The card, which most of it will be cut down or die cut. In fact, all of it will be cut down or die cut. But you will get 2 sheets of Whisper White, which will be either die cut, punched, or ready for liners. You will get 3 sheets of thick Whisper White, which will be ready for cards. So, the other white won't be for liners. So it will be die cut or just left solid. But 3 sheets of thick Whisper White cut down to make card bases, and they will be scored as well. And then you will also get the equivalent of a sheet of each of the 5 colours of cardstock, and these are the colours that are in the Playing with Patterns. So it's Night of Navy, Crushed Curry, Coastal Cabana, Calypso Coral, and Purple Posy. So that, including video instructions and written instructions, you will get all of that for, I have to look it up, and this includes postage and packing. Normally I put postage and packing on top, but because it's World Card Making Day, I'm doing it as a special. So the kit, including postage and packing, will be £25. Most of that is made up of product. I have put a little bit in for my time to make the videos and the PDFs. If I'm going to be using the So Sentimental stamp set and dies, which are a bundle, if you add the stamps then you will save £8 in total, which will make it £37. If you include the bundle, it will be £55, which means you save £20 on the whole thing. So it's almost like getting the stamps for free. It's almost like getting the class for free as well. I have tried to cram as much in as I possibly can without it actually costing me money to do it. But yeah, so I will get that stuff in a newsletter and on my website. I'm sorry that some of you that's irrelevant for because you're not in the UK, but I just wanted to let you know. And it all comes beautifully wrapped in a box. I mean, there'll be polythene wrapping and cello bags and things. So each of the projects will be in a separate cello bag. So yes, I'm so excited about it. I've got until, I think it was either the end of this week or the middle of next. I think it was the middle of next before I need to cut off for orders in order to get everything in and out before World Card Making Day, which is the 3rd of October. Phew, and relax. Okay, so I have got 2 cards that I have prepped for today. I also want to pick up on a question that I had about doing layers. So I will do some on that as well. So yeah, let's get crafting it. I'm going to start with layers. I think I'll start with layers and then we'll go on to the actual crafting. So excuse me while I flip you down. So I'm going to cover up the camera so that you don't get too dizzy. And okay, so let me just adjust that a wee bit. You get to see all my rubbish. See, when I do my YouTube videos, when I do my YouTube videos, you can only see the grid paper, so you don't get to see all this rubbish over here, including my really lovely, I must put it in the wash, this is what I use if I'm doing watercolouring. So yeah, it's very mucky. Right, okay, what was I going to do? Layers, that's what I was going to do. Let me just grab a couple of pieces of card. These are retired, so this is Lovely Lipstick and Call Me Clover. Neither of them were my favourite colour ever. So some of this will not immediately translate if you're in North America. Hi Rose. But I don't think I've got, oh no, I have got a couple of Americans on, haven't I? Hi Emma. So if you're outside of North America, you will use what we call international A4 cardstock, which is this. If you're in North America, you use 8.5 by 11 letter cardstock. So it's shorter and fatter. Just so you can see the measurements, let me swing that out. So our cardstock in imperial measurements is just over 11.5 inches by not quite 8.5, so it's about 8.25. So your paper in North America is slightly wider and slightly shorter. It's probably about the same surface area, but different dimensions. So this won't immediately translate. Most of the dies that we've got that are rectangle are actually sized for North American letter cardstock. I'm having another drink. I've got a real tickle in the back of my throat. Hi, Dot. I'm slightly allergic to fungal spores, and because we're in autumn, that's kind of something that's flying around a lot, particularly as we're in the middle of the country. So yeah, it's allergy. Right, so now obviously the easiest thing to do is to cut a piece of card into quarters. It gets a little complicated with metric because we don't have to cut it into quarters is kind of weird. So our full width is 21 centimeters, so that's fine. The length is 29 point, I want to say 29.7. something like that, which is a really stupid figure if you ask me, but anyway. But for layering, what you want is to have an even margin the whole way around. So what I tend to do is, I'm actually going to cut it this way first. So if I was looking for a half sheet of card, I would be going up on my metric International A4 to not quite 14.9 centimeters, roughly. So let me work out or do up what I would call standard card base. So it would be 10.5 as my score line, and this would be my standard card base. Now, as I say, in the US, you would have slightly less height and you would have slightly more width. So what I would then do, if I want to do matting and layering, is I would always take off roughly the same amount all the way around. Now, I'm one of these weird people that uses international, so metric cardstock, but I work in imperial, so apologies. I cut my first layer at 5 5/8, which is 14.3 centimeters, roughly. So that's my first cut. So if we look at that on our card base, and I've deliberately used card that is quite flashy, you can see that there's a nice little border top and bottom. So in order to replicate that side to side, I cut at, for me, 3 7/8, which is about 13.8. So that gets me a nice layer like that. So it's kind of even the whole way round. So to then go smaller, all you do is take the same amount off on each side. So if I cut my basic size again, so this will be the same size as the lovely lipstick. So these are the same size. If I want to layer, I don't even need, if I've already got this cut, I don't even need to measure how much I'm leaving. I need to measure how much I'm taking away. So if I take off 1/4 inch on one side and 1/4 inch on the other side, and I'm measuring on this side because it's easier, that is going to give me an even layer the whole way around. So if I put it in the corner, you can see it's 1/4 inch. If I bring it to the middle, it's even because it's 1/8 inch all the way around. And that's basically all you do the whole way down. So if I start again with my 3 7/8 by 5 5/8, which it already is cut at, if I then take off 1/2 inch on both sides or both edges, this will then give me an 1/8 inch border here. So I'm building up my layers. Not getting them very square for you, but you get the drift. So that's really all you need to worry about. Now that is a basic set of layers. You can do clever things with squares and things like that. So let's see if I can work out how big this is. Okay, so it's there. So if I cut this as a square, what I would then do for my card is I would put it towards the top of my card with an even surround on the top and the two sides and more at the bottom. And the reason for that is that's kind of how it's all. If you get something framed, you will quite often find that the mount that it's framed up within is fatter at the bottom, and our brain likes fatness at the bottom. If we had the card like that, it would just look wrong. Our brain just doesn't like it. Pop it up here and we're more comfortable with it. And if you think about Polaroid photos, those have the wider bit at the bottom. I don't know if that's coincidental or what, but they do. And our brains like it. So if I then wanted to layer within this, all I would do is, how big was this? Always a good plan to know. Okay, so that was 3 3/8. So if I cut that at 3 3/8, and again, I'm going to end up with exactly the same size. So they're exactly the same size, and the same rule applies. Take it off one side, take it off the other side, and you've got a perfect mat. So I hope that's helped those of you that are a bit concerned about how to do mats and layers and those sorts of things. So that's the public broadcast piece over. Now we get to craft. You've all started to be very quiet, which always worries me that you're still there. Right. So I'm going to use Coming Home, and this is the start of my Halloween and Christmas mini-series. I'm doing 13 days. Halloween, unlucky number, 13. 13 days, light bulb moment. Never thought of only cutting. There you are, you see, Audrey. So I've helped. Excellent. So yes, just cut 1/4 of an inch off one side, and then, you know, each of 2 sides, cornering sides, and you've suddenly got your 1/8. It's so easy. I do use a converter for my North American conversions. There are some out there that you can buy, which I have, so I can get everything the same size. So, yeah, because the whole point of doing it for North American isn't, and there are moments when I wish that some of the stuff that came out from Stamping Up would bear this in mind. We get, that's great, Lorna, thank you. We get quite a lot of things sent to us which are project kits that we could use in classes and things, you know, in the days when we had classes. But they're still using 8.5 inch by 11, and they seem to think that what they need to do is just convert that to metric. No, doesn't work like that. We have a different size card, so just converting from metric into inches or vice versa does not work. They are 2 completely different sets of measurements, and for me I do 3, because I do metric and imperial for international A4, and I do just imperial for North American cardstock. Right, so yes, Christmas and Halloween. I'm going to be starting a series tomorrow, which will be you could either make this as a Halloween project, or you could make it as a Christmas project, and this is how you change the 2 out. So I'm using Coming Home, stamp set and bundle, because we have dies. If I've die cut things that I don't then use, I just pop them into my dies. And for the smaller sheets of dies, I tend to keep them in the case. I know a lot of people don't, but particularly for things that are just a picture that you're die cutting, I do find it's easier. Thank you, Nora. I'm so pleased that it makes sense. Just start from one measurement and just cut away. Right, so Coming Home. So I'm going to start with my Halloween project. And I've got quite a lot already done. Oops, I want to just move that, because I had actually coloured my house, and then I realised it would be a good idea if I actually showed you how to do both of them. So I have got a piece of Cajun Craze card ready as a card base. I've got Basic Grey, which will be my background. I've got a piece of this amazing, I love this metallic mesh. It is amazing. You can colour it. I had a piece. There it is. So you can colour it. I coloured this with a Sponge Dauber and Blackberry Bliss. Let me find something white. So that you can hopefully see it. Let's see if I lift that up a bit. There we go. So this is now Blackberry Bliss. It does take a while to dry, but it does work. Absolutely, Candy. If we were all working on the same size paper, it would be lovely. And I gather that in Canada, they actually use both, which must be so confusing. Um, Not with Stamping Up. I think in Stamping Up only do letter cardstock for Canada. So yes, so this is Blackberry Bliss and Nude. So this is the one, how it comes, and this is what happens when you attack it with a sponge dauber. So it can be, ooh, I might use that. Ooh, I might use that rather than that, actually. Right, okay, so I've got my house. I've die cut in Cajun Craze 2 trees, and they are the spiky tree. I've also die cut 2 in the black glitter cardstock. Hi, Barbara. And I did one way and one the other. Now, here's the thing. So I have now got my magnetic cutting plate. This is a consumable item. You could use it as a stencil. Possibly, Wendy. I think it's a bit fine. Anyway, so this is a consumable item. It's a self-healing cutting plate, and it is magnetic all over. So let me grab a die and hurl it, and it's, you know, it's stuck. But 2 things. A, if you cut glitter cardstock, you end up with glitter caught in your cut, which isn't going to be terribly helpful. It means it's going to be more of a challenge for it to heal. And it does heal. I've used this a reasonable amount, and I can see where I've cut, but only because there's an outline. But it's definitely closed up. You want to use it all over, so you want to die cut all over, but I would say do not use it for glitter paper or glimmer paper. So yes, the other thing that is not great to cut on here is the felt. I have tried. It doesn't like cutting on here. So just a word to the wise. Felt and anything with glitter, not on your magnetic base plate. Frankly, if you're using felt, the magnet's probably not going to come through. You don't think it's as strong as the old one? Well, they're different, Barbara. So that would be why. So the original magnetic plate wasn't a cutting plate. This is a cutting plate. So with the original magnetic base plate, you had to put a cutting plate between the die and your magnetic plate. But the big issue with the old one was that it only had splodges of magnet. So you would have found that trying to put that tree onto the old magnetic base plate, it would have gone rather than actually sticking. But you know, I'm shaking that and it's not moving. What happens if I put a piece of cardstock? Let me find a small piece of cardstock, because I wouldn't use a big piece with it. I mean, I'm shaking that quite hard. It is moving a bit, but not very much. So I think honestly, it's just they're different. I don't think one's better or worse than the other. I think they're just different. But that is a cutting plate, not a base plate. Anyway, so those are just my observations. I've fussy cut a bat as well. You've covered your base magnetic plate with clear contact paper. Okay. And that's the new plate, Candy, or the old one? Because I'm not quite sure what that achieves. Because you just cut into the contact paper. Anyway, moving on. So I have a few blends, and I've got, they're gorgeous, the iridescent pearls. They are stunning. Anyone who shopped with me in August and got the little gift that I made, it was a little pen holder. I used these on that. I hadn't realised how gorgeous they were until I started using them on that. They are divine. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Right, so I am going to colour this ready for Halloween. This is a really cute little house out of the Coming Home suite. Remember, the stamp set, a portion of the money goes to charities working in adoption, foster care and infertility. So it's a really nice set to get just for that. So I'm going to start with the windows. Weird, huh? That's just the way I rock and roll. Pumpkin pie, dark. I would zoom in, but I can't. Sorry. Hello, Sam. Gosh. Hello, Julia. On the new plate. It slows the chewing up, does it? Okay. So if you put contact paper on your magnetic plate, it slows down the chewing. Okay. So pumpkin pie. So this is pumpkin pie light. And I'm not too fussed about the blend, to be honest. This is just supposed to make it look a bit spooky. Spooky. So Julia, I think you've just come back from France, is that right? So anyone who's wondering who Sam Calcott is, she is Mixed Up Crafts and is doing incredibly well. Sam, am I right in thinking you've just brought out your own line of products, or have I dreamt that? Anyway, so that's pumpkin pie. Then Cajun Craze. I'm going to do a Cajun Craze door and a Cajun Craze, which one's which? Dark. And a Cajun Craze roof. So this is the dark. So I'm just adding some area where it will be shadow. And roof. Hello Leith from Cambridge in Ontario. Wow. Do you know, I think you're my first Canadian. Oh, this is the dark. Silly. Oh, it's painful sometimes, isn't it? Oh well, never mind. Okay, Rose, see you next week. We quite often get trouble with the internet. We've actually just put in some new boosters for Wi-Fi in the house, which is kind of weird. So the reason I say it's weird is that if I am almost on top of the old Wi-Fi, as in the router box, where I should get 4 degrees Celsius, good grief. Sorry, this is in Ontario, Canada. Frost warning, I'm not surprised. So theoretically, if you're bang on top of the router, you should get the best Wi-Fi signal. Well, I was on a Zoom call last week for the parish council, and I tried the old signal, which according to, you know, we get the bars which tell you how good the signal is. This is, I love this dark black. How can you have dark black and light black? Anyway, this is dark. So you know you have, it has that band as to whether it's a strong signal or a light signal. So it had the stronger of the two signals, as opposed to the boosters, which had a reasonable signal, but not as strong. And when I did a speed check, the weaker, supposedly, booster signal was better than the supposedly good old signal. Does that make sense? Right, so that's dark black. This is light black. So the light black I'm going to add... No, it's not. It's the dark smoky slate. Good grief. There are moments. That's not the end that I want. I want the narrow end. There are moments when I wonder why I bother getting up in the morning. So this is just to try and add some shadowing. And then here I'm going to blend out the dark black into the light black. And sorry, I was just checking to see if there were any messages, and there aren't. So that's that. Then I want the dark smoky slate, which is what I picked up originally. Actually, that needs a bit more of the light black. So, blend that down. So, who is a Halloween and who isn't? It's a bit of an interesting discussion in the UK. Let it be said that Halloween was a UK tradition. I think specifically it was Scottish, that was then exported to the US, made into something completely different from the original British version, and then exported back again, to the point where it's almost unrecognisable. But yes, so who is a Halloween and who isn't? I would love to know. I like the project, but I'm not into Halloween, if that doesn't sound weird. I like the challenge of Halloween projects. Does that make any sense? Not sure it does. I know what I mean. I think I like the look of them, but I don't do Halloween. I do. I remember some things. I remember back in the day when I was... Thank you, Candy. When I was living on my own in my flat, in my first flat, and some kids came round, and I say kids, they were probably 16. That was the sort of age they looked anyway. So they came round in mid-October, trick-or-treating. Your fall versus Halloween. Okay, I can get that. So yes, they came round trick-or-treating. I have to say I sent them away with a flea in their ears. A, because they were after money, and B, because it wasn't Halloween. And where I lived in a cul-de-sac, so dead-end street, and there were a couple, not many, but a couple of young families. The flats were only one bedroom. So Margaret, you like the stuff, but you don't do it. Yeah, you see, that's me, Jackie. I like the stuff, and I love making the projects, but it's just not me. As a tradition, it's not me. So this is the light black. I just want to add a bit of a shadow there. So yes, I sent them away with a flea in their ear because frankly, you know. Right, okay, so we have our card. I have already die cut a piece of, yeah, not big in Australia, no. You like fall, but not especially Halloween. Yeah. It's 6:45 in the morning. Oh, you're puppy training. Good luck. The way your house looks reminds me of the church at the end. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Absolutely. I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I like the Rocky Horror Show generally. But the Rocky Horror Picture Show, yeah. So I think I'm going to pop. Have I got enough to go across twice? I don't think I have. No. Okay, so we're going to have to do it once. So I'm going to stick this down. Actually, no, I'm going to stick that down first because I want that to be behind the silicone mat time. I want that to be behind the slope. So that's going to go on that way. So that needs to come up that way. That'll be about right. Okay, so I'm going to use Seal Plus for this. Ideally, I want it to be straight. Your husband... Met your husband at Halloween. Don't really give Halloween cards, but make one for the husband. Well, that makes sense. We never get trick or treat because no street lights or pavement where we live. Well, snap. It is one of the advantages, one of the many advantages of moving to where we are now. I know I do say that we live down a muddy lane, and I think some people think that I'm joking because we live in the country. No, we live down a muddy lane. It is a muddy track. At the moment, it's a dusty track, but most of the year, it's a muddy track. So, yeah. Which does mean that we don't have to worry about trick-or-treaters. But in the village, I mean, villages are different because, you know, they're better. I think they're more of a community. So we have a deal in the village that if you have a pumpkin outside your door on Halloween, then you are perfectly happy to have trick-or-treaters. If you don't have a pumpkin outside your door, you are left alone. And it excuse me, it works. The first year I tried and I put a pumpkin out in the lead up to Halloween, and then I took it down for Halloween and I got no trick-or-treaters. To be honest, they wouldn't have been able to get to the front door anyway because we have security gates that were put in by our predecessors. So if anyone wonders if Seal is strong, it is. So yeah, they would have had a difficulty getting into the property because they wouldn't have been able to get round to the front door because the front door is behind the gates. That's gone off the edge. So let me just trim that down, preferably without cutting the mesh. These are my sticky scissors. Right, so that's that. Then I'm going to pop my house on. Then I'm going to add some trees, and then we'll be kind of there or thereabouts. But before I do any of that, I'm going to grab a wink of Stella and smash. Now, if you want bigger drops than that, you can use, possibly not the Frost White, but the Champagne shimmer paint and a water brush, and you can get bigger sploshes. Let's see, actually, I have a water painter here. Let's use the bigger brush, and that's how it works with you, Claire. Good. Yes, Jan, it can, can't it? You've been up it. So I'm just going to pick up some of that and just get my thing. Just take the big drop off and we get bigger splodges. And these are whiter because it's white paint. Right, so that obviously has to dry. Now, while I've got this out, on the basis that I'm going to need to do that for my Christmas version, let me just bring in my Christmas version so that we can let this dry whilst I am finishing off the Ooh, I've got almost like the Milky Way. Right, so that's an option. You love, so Nora, you love autumn and its colours, but you don't do Halloween anymore, but love Christmas. Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's never really been a thing in our house. I mean, let it be said, my mother, God rest her soul, her birthday was the 31st of December, of October, so we always used to joke that she was a witch. And bless her, because I was born on the 1st of November, the day after her birthday, and I was born just past midnight, so I was very generous and gave her labour for the first birthday that I was kind of close to. So yes, it it was her birthday, so yeah, you love your wink of Stella. Letha, it's gorgeous. Oh, your demonstrators, Lena, she's, oh, love her. Oh, you can flick it from the lid to get an even splattery effect. Of course you could. I think you need to get your wink of Stella running. Oh, possibly get a wink of Stella that isn't running out. I think this one might be fuller. Oh, yep, got some nice splodges. Yep, I'll give her that. She's amazing, let it be said. Right, okay, let me just, there's a very big splodge there, so I'll just soak that up. Right, okay, that was just a rag, by the way. I know it looked like a tissue, but it's just a rag. So I've got some black dimensionals for my house. Don't need many. This is not weight bearing, and the adhesive on the back of dimensionals is very good, so you know. So that's that. Then let me grab my this. I'm going to put the Cajun Craze ones on first, if my glue would care to run. It's a very full pot. I've had it standing the other way up. Don't like the way it's been Americanized. Well, that's kind of what I meant by we exported it and then it got re-imported. We weren't allowed to speak to the householder and get... Oh, you and they had to guess who you were. I like that idea. Yep, like that idea a lot. These I'm going to put kind of further up. So these are the glitter ones, or that's a glitter one. Because I'm obviously glitter on glitter. Yeah, not a great move. And this one I'm going to have coming out behind the house. Like that. And dare I say, what was I going to say? Oh yes, bats. So we actually have a bat that flies around our courtyard. We're basically a bungalow with let's pop that one there. We're basically a bungalow with a kind of like a, think of a Roman courtyard. So it's got a house on three sides, and that's basically what we look like. But not on quite such a grand scale. Anyway, we have a little bat that flies around our courtyard. The courtyard traps insects. So when it's warm weather, it traps the insects in the courtyard. So these are the mini blacks, which I'm just cutting in half because I know that they are the perfect size to go behind the bat wings. And the bat wings are from the Magic in This Night designer series paper, which is gorgeous. I'm loving it. I kind of like how one year we get not Americanized Halloween, and the next year we get kind of cutesy Halloween. And of course you can add, for the Wink of Stella fans, Wink of Stella to your bat to give it an even eerier look. And then that can go onto my card base. I'm going to put the adhesive onto my card rather than the other way. No, I won't. I lied. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. No, I'm going to use liquid. Yep. Yep. You do need to make the sound effects, by the way, to go with. Otherwise, it's just not the same at all. And then pop this on here. I might even manage to get it straight. Press the back. And we have our Halloween version of Coming Home. So that's the Halloween. Oh, actually, do we want some of these? I think we do. I don't think that we cannot. I love them. Sorry, but I do. I'm going to pop one in the middle there, and then I might pop them round the... Now, I like my odd numbers. Just saying. So this is an even number for me. I mean, it is an even number. That's still an even number. And that is still an even number. So I need an odd number. I will explain why in a moment. 7 a.m. in the US of A. Good morning, Barbara. Other Barbara, because we now have two Barbaras on the call as well. There. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These for me are 1 each. So that's that. We're now going to turn it into a pretty. So remember this, I will bring it back. So let's get rid of anything that is black and replace it with anything that is white. So Pool Party, Misty Moonlight, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. This, sorry Audrey, is felt. Sorry. Audrey and I have kind of got to know each other over the years that I've been a demonstrator. Audrey is also a demonstrator. And we have got to understand that there are certain things that each of us prefer and that we don't. Audrey doesn't like sequins. No, glitter. I think you're all right with sequins, but she doesn't like the feel of felt. She likes the look of it, but not the feel of it, which I can kind of get. Right, so Pool Party, Misty Moonlight, Poppy Parade, and Smoky Slate Still. Smoky Slate's great for shading. I'm going to start with my windows again. So Pool Party in the middle, dark. So this is going to not be that dissimilar to how I did the previous house, but we're going pretty and jolly because we're doing Christmas. So you forgive me. Thank you, Audrey. Bless her, because I had a post late last night. Some of you may have noticed it at 10 o'clock last night. I'm on a blog hop with Kylie Bertucci and her training team. And do I want those back? Don't think so. I can always get them back if I need them. So yes, with Kylie Bertucci and her training team, And I've used some of the felt in the card that I did for that, which is, you know, you could replace it with ordinary card. I used it as a die cut from So Sentimental, because I do like the So Sentimental set. So I'm going to colour most of this in Misty Moonlight Light. I say most, I am actually going to colour all of the back of the house, or you know, the walls of the house in Misty Moonlight Light. And then I'm going to come in and do some shading. There are reasons for doing one versus the other, but frankly you can get pretty close to the same effect whichever way round you do it. If you do light then dark then light, you tend to get a better blend, but that really depends on whether your first layer has dried out by the time you put your second layer on. So that's what not to do. I scribbled and moved my card, so I've now got a splodge in the wrong place. It'll be fine. Alcohol markers are actually very forgiving, because you can just blend things out. And if you get the colour lifter, and I think I've said this before, well I have said it before, I don't know if I've said it before on here, the colour lifter is not actually a colour lifter, it's a colour pusher backer. That's a technical phrase. Oops, I know I've missed that bit. I'll come and do that in a minute. I just want to add a bit of shading to the bottom of my house, although it's probably going to be covered in snow. But hey, we're just going to have to live with it. So yes, it actually, the colour lifter actually pushes the colour back into the card. So as I say, you should probably call it a colour pusher backer, but I think that's it's a bit of a mouthful. And that needs to be blended out. And right, so that's all going to dry off a bit. I'm going to have a Poppy Parade front door. Which is now bleeding nicely into the window. I will fix that in a moment. So Poppy Parade front door, dark Poppy Parade at the base and the handle and under the window. I will show you in between. Yes, Barbara, I think you've got a lag on the timing. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Possibly not, but I've got a little bit of bleeding in the window with the Poppy Parade. It's easily fixed. You just come back in with your pool party and just blend it out. Or the other thing you can do is grab your colour pusher backer and just dot that on, and that again will help deal with any bleeding. I've found to get a straight line in colouring around windows, if you look where you're going and not where you are a bit, like driving, it does make sense, and it's what I do. I managed to refill one of my markers with re-inker. I don't suppose we could do the same with the blends and alcohol, could we? I don't know the answer to that, Audrey. Yes, you can refill your markers with the re-inker. Apparently this was a bit of a surprise to Stamping Up on one of the incentive trips that I wasn't on because I haven't been on one yet. Please note the use of the word yet. It's my goal. It's been my goal for a couple of years now. Not getting this one, but I might get the next one. Anyway, apparently it came as a bit of a surprise to the Stampin' Up team that we were refilling our blends, not our blends, our markers with re-inker, because apparently the ink is different. I think what would happen is that you would just dilute the colour, so it just wouldn't be quite as strong. But I don't know. I haven't tried it. Possibly the colour lifter would work, but I'm not sure about the... Oh, I'm going to have a misty moonlight roof because I can. But yeah, I mean, you can take them to pieces. I found this out when I dropped... Sorry. Yes, Audrey, I know you can. I dropped some of my blends and stood on them. Don't do it. Oh, it's playing ball this time. There we are. So you can. These bits do come out. All I would say is they're not meant to, obviously. But as I say, I just dropped them, trod on them, and they cracked. But yes, so you can take them to pieces with a pair of pliers, probably, as you do with the markers. I just don't know what the result would be. Anyway, that's all the colouring I need to do. So let's throw those back in my pot. Ready to do stuff with. So I've got a piece of the pool party ribbon. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. It's from the Whale of a Time suite in the annual catalogue. This I have die cut with the sticky sheet on the back, and apparently then managed to stick that to something else. Hurrah. So it's not very straight. Let's go that way, and then I'm going to use these for extra. The thing with this is you want your trees to be straight. Yes, we do change our clocks. So we change our clocks on the last Saturday of October and the last Saturday of March. It took me about 55 years to realise that. So, yeah. Just saying, I'm not very bright sometimes. Okay, let's get this back in. I must clean it, it's filthy. So yes, you want to make sure your trees are straight. I did not die cut these with the trees straight. So just make sure that your trees are perpendicular, because they're going to look very odd otherwise. So it's got the sticky sheet on the back, so I can then just trim with my sticky scissors. Trim that off. And then, actually I'm going to bring in a larger pair of scissors because it's easier to cut a long length. These are non-stick as well, which is quite handy. Had these for years. Right, so we now have perpendicular trees on our snowbank. So yes, we changed the clocks, as I say, in October and March. Why it took me quite so long to realise that, I do not know, but there we go. It did. Right, so that actually needs to come into the foreground, doesn't it? Because it's big. It's really big. So, in fact, I don't like it. It's too big. Let's have that there. Don't know where to put. I don't think I like either of those, so I'm not going to use them. Where did I put my leftover bit? There we are. There's my leftover bit. I can put some of the little trees that I have already die cut. So I can pop that there. And then have that. That's better. It's more balanced. Okay, so the windblown lean. Absolutely. Yes, windblown leaning tree look. Please tell me you use the edge of your dimensionals. If you don't, I'm going to come around. There are Stamping Up police who come around if you do things like that, and they take all your dimensionals away from you if you don't use the edges. Just saying. I love the edges. They're great for sentiment strips. So, there's that. Do I want the ribbon? Not convinced it adds a lot. Could put it just across the bottom. Nah, doesn't add enough. It's not enough. Right, but what I can add are some of our adhesive backed sequin snowflakes. And then we're pretty much done for the day. Now, did you know, because I didn't, these are in different colours. So we've got white iridescent and kind of clear iridescent. What do they call them in the catalogue? I had completely missed this. Thank you, Margaret, for sharing. They are on page 29. Page 29. So they are iridescent and just jade, apparently. Apparently this is just jade. If you say so, I'll believe you. So let's have some sequins. There was one that was kind of, yeah, I seem to have two stuck together there. I think I've got a spare. I think I got a free sequin. Woohoo! I think I got a free not sticky sequin is what I got. So I'll not get that excited. So I'm just kind of blobbing these all over. I don't count these. I don't get fussed if I have an even or an odd number of these. I don't know why. I think because they're more of a pattern than a... Why have I started on that? Oh yes, that's why. Just remembered why. But yes, I know it's weird, but I don't. We're all weird in our own little ways. Something over there. There we go. And I know the house is kind of bereft of snow, but there's the white outline of the die cut. That's my theory and I'm sticking to it. I did share a video quite a while ago of using the same suite where I used white embossing powder on liquid glue before it had dried and it got puffy. So just so you know, if you want puffy effect, glue, white embossing powder, perfect puffiness. Right, glue. And then we can do prizes. And I will hold up the cards a little bit so that you can see them a bit better because I know it's a very small screen. So, squish from the back. And they do obviously need liners. I know they need liners. But I tend to put liners in when I'm writing them because I go wrong so often. So there we are. Those are our two projects. We've got Halloween and Christmas. Although I don't do Halloween, I kind of like the Halloween one. But yeah, so don't just think of your stamps as only being used for one thing. These are being used a lot for new home cards. those sorts of things. So do think about that as well. But yeah, so those are those. So the spot challenge has just gone live, so I'm just going to very quickly talk about that. So that will be on my website now. We've got a colour challenge. This is my card for the colour challenge. Hello, Brenda. And it's the colour challenge this week is Crumb Cake, Bumblebee, Merry Merlot, and a metallic of your choice. I've used, for this one, I've used in fact, for both of the versions I've done, I've used the brushed metallics from the August, December, I'm trying not to say autumn, winter, August, December catalogue. So I used the gold and the copper. Or is it the brass and the copper? I think this is brass. Anyway, and this is the Love of Leaves stamp set bundle. This is using the, thank you for liking the other cards. This is using the baby wipe technique, and I have an admission. We do not, in the UK, well in Europe, currently have re-inkers for any ink colours. We've just about got 3 for last year's. I think we've got Terracotta Tile, Pretty Peacock, Rococo Rose. I think they're the 3 we've got. Obviously, Purple Posy never happened as far as an ink pad was concerned. We're still waiting for Seaside Spray. So I couldn't use Bumblebee for my my baby wipe technique, so I've used Crushed Curry. Just saying. And it's not the right colour. I accept it's not the right colour and it doesn't look quite right, but it's fine. So that's the challenge for this week. So if you would like to take part in the challenge, you can do that from Instagram. You don't have to have a website. So what really matters is the prizes. So 2 weeks ago, the 2nd of September, the prize was the From Our House to Yours, which is actually very similar in look to this, except it's not an outline, but it's the same basic, it's houses at Christmas. And it's got the right spelling of neighbour. It's got the wrong spelling as well, but it has got the right spelling. So this was the prize. I've done the prize thing, has gone live on my website, and the winner is Belinda Wells. I know Belinda, she's actually one of my team, so I will get that in the post to her. And the prize for this week is current, and it's the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, which is gorgeous. I don't think it's getting enough attention. It's like the subtle embossing folder, but on steroids. It's a really nice textured background, a woven textured background, as you would expect, bearing in mind it says textile. Anyway, so that's the prize for this week's Facebook Live. Obviously it will be on replay. I'm posting it for tomorrow on YouTube, and obviously I'll have pictures of the cards on my blog for that. Do remember that if you would like a packet of the sequin snowflakes, the adhesive backed snowflakes rather, free as a gift from me, if you place an order this week that is at least £25, and if it's £25, you need to use the host code. If it's £150 plus, don't use the host code, but you will still get that pack of snowflakes. So you've got until close on Friday. That's close UK time. So that's midnight on Friday UK time. And I will then get those ordered and put those into your pack for your ordinary thank you gifts. And it is in addition to your ordinary thank you gift. So £25, host code, £150 plus. Don't worry about using the host code. But if you're spending £150, please get the starter kit, because it is by far the better value. And you get £130 for £99, free postage and packing. And at the moment you're getting the So Much Love and Queen Anne's lace stamp sets free, plus a pack of rhinestones, plus 16 card kits. So it's an amazing value. It's about £75 extra for £99. Just saying. Okay, that is it from me for today. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I will look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday, all things being equal. Look after yourselves till then. Please be safe. Please practice social distancing. I think pretty much everywhere in the world at the moment, the numbers are going up, not down, which is kind of worrying for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, because if it's going up in the Southern Hemisphere, we've got no hope. Anyway, I'm only saying that because viruses tend to like winter more. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Please be safe. Please look after yourselves. And I will look forward to seeing you again next week or on YouTube in the meantime. So thank you very much and goodbye. And this is where I do the embarrassing trying to end the live video for 5 minutes, because I press the button and nothing happens. Then it says, do I want to end it? So I press end. And then it doesn't end it, so I have to press end video again. And